how the digital credit ecosystem has evolved, and you've been, part of this for fairly a long time now. So if you could kind of get in your views.
And I'd like to share the Bank Bazaar view, because we see 50 lakh customers or visitors come every month. And my focus is going to be on paperless. I think the unique angle I want to add, right, is that with what's happened with the UID authority, they have opened up infrastructure on which both banks, bureaus, and young companies can leverage off to automate and drive paperless transactions in our chain. So two key features, right, is in the old way of doing business, I need your driver's license, I need your utility bill, potentially I need a lease, I need to know what you look like, right? And all of this is physically picked up, it's transported to a processing hub, it gets validated like Manish rightly pointed out, and then it goes through paper. In the eKYC model, technically I just authorize access to my eKYC on the Aadhaar system, and all of this which used to take, let's say, days, if not weeks, happens in 1 second. So eKYC is a new enabler for paperless. There's technology available around e-sign, right? So I don't need to bring all these reams of papers, get signatures in 5 different places, but we electronically sign a document based on UID. So I think the infrastructure is exciting. I think the question now is how quickly can we move? And the question needs to be asked of everyone, of the banks, of the regulators, of platforms such as Bank Bazaar, to see how can we truly democratize finance by making it 100% paperless.
So I'll give 2 perspectives on this. When my clients talk to me about online credit decisioning, they usually mean one of 2 things, right? Sometimes online means on the internet, and sometimes it means real time and instant, right? And sometimes it can mean both. So you can be online in the sense of being on the internet without being real time, because there will be customers who would like the convenience of operating online and on the internet and outside banking hours, but they won't need a decision instantly, right? There will be other instances where it needs to be real time, but it's got nothing to do with the internet, right? So you could talk about a consumer durable decision that is given in, let's say, a Chroma store, which is on the basis of a desk and a customer standing in front of you. There's a third, which is online in the sense of internet-based as well as real-time, which is, for example, what we work with people like Adil on, right? Now, in different circumstances, you're dealing with different customer journeys and you're protecting the lender against different things. Internet is typically anonymous, right? So whilst you have a lot of customers who like the idea of doing it in their own time, you also have a minority of customers who like the anonymity that comes from, let me try my luck because I'm not standing in front of the lender, okay? Now, real time, with the customer standing in front of you, is obviously not anonymous, but it is a customer who's trying their luck at getting a decision in 2 seconds. Let me see what happens, maybe the bank makes a mistake. I am who I say I am, but I don't intend to pay you, I'll still try my luck. And then you've got, as I said, people who try to give the customer experience that is on the internet as well as real time, right? So as a credit bureau, what I try to do, and as a data analytics company, what I try to do is I try to understand the customer journey that is being intended and what my customer, in other words, my client, like a Bank Bazaar, is trying to do and how I can help them on it. And in different cases, my own customer is actually trying for different things, right? And the customer journey they're intending is actually different.
I think before we kind of comment on yours, I just want to take off on a point that Manish made about the margin for error when you do a credit score or credit bureau report versus the conventional intrusive methods, and I completely agree they're intrusive. I think you're right that there might not be a significant change in the default numbers because you're using now credit bureau scores as against the old method. The difference is that I think some of the banks at the operating level still need to understand the usage of credit bureaus and credit scores. And therefore, the accountability issue, especially in your public sector banks, kicks in, where if you've done all the traditional intrusive methods of doing appraisal and the loan goes bad, it doesn't go into your file as a credit officer. Whereas if you've used this new nice method called a nice 750 score, and then the loan goes bad, you probably are in trouble in terms of your next promotion. But that was more on the lighter side. I think credit bureaus are still used more as a tick mark as against a yes/no decision. And you know, some kind of a magical 750 number seems to have emerged as the acceptable number amongst the banks. Now that was not the intent of a credit bureau. The intent of the credit bureau is to give a loan to a guy who also is at 700, but recognize that the risk is higher and therefore maybe price it higher or collateralize it differently. And that's not yet happened, and that is really the next evolution that needs to take place. We talked about speed, and I just want to kind of say that yes, loans get processed faster, less intrusively. It's supposed to be more cost efficient, although I think the previous panel talked about the hidden costs of social media marketing and using that. And your focus is supposed to expand your market. But I think there's something very fundamental that we are forgetting here is the speed of the internet. And I think everybody's forgetting that particular aspect, that even with 4G coming up, and I get this little message which says Vodafone has gone 4G in Bombay, I'm not sure that the speed of the internet allows me to be continuously dealing with a bank or with my customer without an interruption or without having to get bored because that little circle is going round and round on my phone. So I think this is one piece of infrastructure in this whole ecosystem which needs to be addressed. And the last point I wanted to make was, we're talking about customer behavior. And as we all know, we're all human beings here. The day we can predict human behavior, we'll have conquered the world, including our respective marriages, I think. So